Good Friday to everyone watching. If you're watching this on replay, good whatever day it is that you're watching on. Right?
Hey,
There we go.
yes,
Hey Victor, how you doing today?
it's Friday.
It's Friday. Wait,
That's a good thing.
and just in case, do you have your drink?
Yes, I do.
What do you have today?
That's it. Beer.
You have a beer.
Beer with lemon.
Beer with lemon. I have a grapefruit sparkling water. Not hard, just sparkling. So anyway, here we go. Now I still have 5 hours to go, 5 or 6 hours to go today, so it's fine. I got plenty of work to do. By the way, if you don't know who we are, my name is Victor. My name is Victor. My name is Darren. This is Victor.
Stolen identity.
Strike.
Is that what you do when I'm not watching? Pretending to be me.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Anyway, my name's Darren. This is Victor. I'm getting ahead of myself. We're the co-host of a podcast called DevOps Paradox. And on Fridays, we do this thing called DevOps Paradox Live, which means no edits. We're completely live. If we mess up, we mess up. If you're watching this on replay, there are no edits, except for one. We trim out the cool 10-minute intro. That's the only edit that happens in this show. So anyway, we do this podcast, and there was something I was supposed to say else extra today. Oh yeah. So on this show today, we talk about just whatever has happened in the past few days. Hopefully this week it might be a little bit older. There were some things that came in right under the wire today that aren't in the notes, and I'll add them to the notes for the replay. But we're probably going to get into a fight today. So you'll want to watch this. If you're here live with us right now, go ahead and say hi over in the chat if you're new. Even if you're not new, go ahead and say hi in the chat. Okay, this week's episode that came out on Wednesday. High availability does not mean 100% availability. Is that still true? Even after Wednesday? And the link to go listen to it is right below us now. So, we've had some clips come out about it. The chances of ever getting to 100% availability is approaching zero, right? It has to be, because there is no network, there is no public internet that is 100% available. We'll see how the stream goes, because it may not be 100% available today. But if you haven't listened to that episode yet, go take a listen to it this weekend. In all your, walking around, getting in your steps. You get in steps, right? You go to the market, you buy exactly necessary items, and then you come back home.
No, I don't do that. Amazon is doing those steps for me.
Yeah. Jay, yes, I am okay. Why would I not be okay? Tell me why are you asking if I'm okay? Oh, I know why, because I've already forgotten. I was calling myself Victor. Oh, Neil, welcome back, man. It's been a few weeks. Vladislav, good to see you too. Thanks for everybody hanging out today. So anyway, if you haven't listened to the episode this week, go listen to it. Hopefully, it's nothing earth-shattering, but it may make you think about a few different things.
Why are we here if it's not earth-shattering? Let's just close it. Do it next week. Oh, okay.
Oh, Alex, let's be nice. Yes, it's true. I know your upper management doesn't want to hear it. That's tough. Now,
it's important to distinguish two things.
Yeah.
To correctly communicate with your peers and call things what they are. And then if you need to fake it for your management, that's a different thing. For your management, you can be 100% available. That's perfectly legit. That's what they ask for. That's what you are. That's perfectly okay.
Exactly. Okay, let's get into the news for the week, and which means I've got to do one more thing over here. I'll go ahead and get this one up. 119 came out, and I kept the title that they had because it's Accentuate the Paw-sitive, because it was National Dog Day in the U.S. So that's the reason why that is the way it is. Here we go. There it is. Okay, so here's their post about it. We talked about it some on last week's show. We'll just touch on it again. Kubernetes support window goes to 1 year. 2 thumbs up. Big deal. Storage tracking, generic ephemeral, blah, blah, blah. Obviously to them, LTS going to 1 year is the most important thing that it was there. on the top. Ingress going to GA. In fact, there were a lot of things going GA in this one. Let me see if I can find it. Here's the graduated to stable. Finally.
Ingress is one of those core components. Without Ingress, you cannot have a cluster, right?
Right.
And deployments not being GA until recently, and Ingress not being GA until today was bad, kind of like really bad. But now, I think that there is nothing missing now from the essential components.
That's maybe where we'll fight later today. Let's get to that point. Yeah. Now, I did want to call out one more thing around this is in the upgrade notes. If you do not read the upgrade notes right before you go to upgrade, you are asking for big trouble. We did a recording this week that's coming out in 2 weeks, I think, with a gentleman that is going through upgrading some GKE clusters from 15 to 16. And he hit some really rough edges. Now you may question, okay, why 15 to 16? Okay, he's on 15. That's why he can only go to 16. But there's some big things here that are scary.
But upgrade to 16 was probably the most problematic upgrade for a long time.
But there was one that jumped out at me here. I think it was this one that jumped out at me at the worst, and it was the very last one. It's upgrading scheduler from V1 Alpha 2 to completely different, right? Well, actually, just a V1 Beta 1. It sucks to be you.
That's basically the brain of everything, right?
Yeah.
I did not even pay attention. I did not know until now that that's not GA, kind of. Oh, that's bad.
Yeah. So anyway, if you were already running 18 and now you're going to 19, please read these items. They call it out as urgent. Trust them. Okay. Any other things on 19? I haven't tried installing it yet because I'm not that crazy. It just came out on Wednesday, so I didn't.
My brain remembered LTS 1 year, that's where it got blocked, kind of like everything after that became irrelevant.
Yeah. I saw this one posted from Patrick Dubois, our friend over at Sneak, and the godfather of DevOps. Introducing Boom for DevSecOps. This is a very long blog post. The link for this post will be down in the notes. If you're watching on YouTube or if you're on the website watching the replay, the links are down there as well. It goes through long stuff, and basically he goes through remediation, all this other stuff, right? I'm not going to read it. You can read it at your convenience. This is a very interesting concept. I hope it doesn't turn into another DevSecOps in a box. Here, let me sell you DevSecOps. But it feels like it some. Because as soon as I see this word right here, I tend to twitch a little bit. But anyway, it looks interesting. And then this was post 1 of however many. It's a very long post. So we'll see.
So here is a message for Rich. Rich, please learn how to write something that I can read in less than 3 hours.
Because it's deep. And of course, this is coming in. The framework is what's going to be in his new book, The Metrics Manifesto.
So what's going to be book then? The size of War and Peace, if this is how big the articles are.
Rich, if you're watching this, or if you're watching this and somebody sent it to you, please come on. We'll be glad to have you on the podcast. And if you want to come on the live stream, we'll do a special live stream.
Yeah, but something shorter than this and longer than a tweet. Yeah. That's the measure, like tweet this.
Yeah. The initial we need the little bit more than TLDR. We don't, but this is good, but this is where, this is only an hour show. Okay, sorry, Rich. And we haven't met Rich, and again, if you're watching or listening, we apologize for poking fun at you. This does look interesting, though. other than me having twitches anytime I see the word burn down. Okay, but because of here's the reason why it caught my eye more than anything else is I used to be like a pretty hardcore World War II just fanatic, and studying these kinds of things were very interesting to me. I've since found other things like editing podcasts that take up my time. But anyway, okay, so boom, link will be down in the notes. Next up, we've got 2 extensions for Visual Studio Code. And again, this was another one that I saw from Patrick. This is one from Sneak, and it's been out for a few months.
It's bloody awesome. It's amazing.
Did you get a chance to play with it yet?
Yes. It's
okay.
Great.
Walk me through it because I haven't had a chance to do what I wanted to do with it yet. So
basically, it shifts security to left, right? And whatever is shifting, any shift to the left to me is a winner, kind of.
Yeah.
If I can get the knowledge about how to do something better while I'm coding instead of while going to PRs or while going to staging, pre-production, production, that's a winner in my case, right? Now, it's up to me to choose whether to kind of apply the recommendations or ignore them. That's a separate story.
Yeah.
And I hope that there will be, Alex manager will not say, now you need to do all those things because that's overwhelming.
Yeah.
But understanding stuff while coding is the best thing you can do.
Yeah. Again, this is remediation advice. It's your choice. It's not getting hammered on you. Now, this will work with the free account, but it only works with just 2 languages, or was it 1 language? It was JavaScript and something else. I don't remember what the other language was.
I tried it with JavaScript a month ago or something like that. I didn't pay attention what else is supported.
I think,
but we can expect that it will be extended very soon.
Yeah. This is very, very cool. If you're doing, as much as I bash on the JavaScript people, you've got cooler tools than I do right now. So please.
Because of necessity. JavaScript is such a horrifyingly bad language that the community...
Wait. This is a monologue, and go. JavaScript.
We need to speak about those moments. Anyways, JavaScript is such a horrifyingly bad language that the community had to become more creative than other communities and figure out really cool ways to solve underlying problems of the language itself. So yes, JavaScript tools tend to be better than any other tool simply because of the pure necessity.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, we should talk about that. I just dropped that on you again.
No, it's okay if you do that. I'm not good at repeating the same thing.
I know. But I wanted to capture that in isolation because that'll probably be a snippet this week. And then the second VS Code extension. Do I dare say it? CloudWatch.
So go back to the previous one.
Go back to Sneak? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So with this, okay.
Thumbs up.
Double thumbs up. Next. Half a thumb sideways, right? No, thumbs down.
Why?
Why do you want to tail logs in VS Code?
I mean, when I already get to that point of running it in AWS, something like production or pre-production, I'm already out of Visual Studio Code, right? I'm expected to now start doing the things as I will be doing in production or close to doing it in production. And I can guarantee you that I think that you need to be an insane person to use Visual Studio Code to tail logs in production.
So this is an anti-pattern to me. I don't mind it, but this is not how you should be monitoring logs.
Yeah.
Period.
It's just because you can doesn't mean that it's a good idea.
Yeah. But now here's where the thumbs up comes in.
Okay.
AWS, not specifically around this, but AWS is really good about keeping their extension up to date and providing new features that developers can use. This one may not be a great one from our perspective, but other ones are.
Fair enough.
Right. That's why I'm giving it. Well, let's give it like a 3/4 single thumb. Right. Yeah. Okay. All right. That's fine. Okay. This one I tripped over too this week is Infracost. If you are a Terraform user, you can now get an estimate from your plan of how much you're spending in AWS. I think it only does AWS. I haven't dug through it yet. This is cool.
I don't think it's cool. I think that's something we've seen quite a few times before, not necessarily tied to Terraform. What is cool is when you scroll down.
Oh, yes.
That's really bloody cool. That's amazing. Down. This is amazing. Having the information about the potential cost when you create a pull request, that is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a potential. It's not going to be accurate and all those things, but you can evaluate. That's one of the many ways how you should be evaluating the changes to your infrastructure. Kind of, is it going to hurt me badly? And trust me, I know that. I just accumulated 12,000 euros cost in 2 hours in AWS.
Are we going to talk about that today too?
We can talk about it later.
We'll talk about it later. Okay. All right. So, but this, again, this is cool because if it's going through and it's got to get an approval on this PR merging, at least you know, hey, look, for the next, this is production, so this is for the next forever, or this is staging for the next hour because we're testing it out. It's like, oh, it's only going to cost us an extra $6. Okay, well, let's go do it. Versus your case, it's going to cost me 12,000. No, we're not doing that.
Now, the usability, I think that this is similar to what we saw before with Snyk and Visual Studio. Yeah. I interpret this as shifting to the left in terms of, experienced AWS, this is, to begin with, this is AWS only. I don't know if you mentioned it, right? Yeah. Only for data. Now, experienced AWS administrator, operator, sysadmin, whatever we call them, they don't necessarily need this because they know instinctively already the effect of things, right?
Right.
But this is one of the many things how you can empower, shift to the left, empower developers to get more control, even though they're not as experienced in everything, because nobody can be as experienced in everything, right?
Right.
So it allows the developer to propose changes, to evaluate those changes in many different ways. And one of them is how much is this going to hurt? Because I honestly, as a developer, I have no idea if I just add this, whether this will be another $1 million of expenses. So it's shifting left, and I like it.
This is a good one. Again, you're not super wowed by just the command line, but by being able to have it as a GitHub action specifically, that's good. I mean, because it is a CLI, you could do your variation of this, right? However you want to do it, whatever tools you're using, you could implement this. But since it is available as an action, just use it.
Yeah. That does not mean that people shouldn't do CLI estimations as well before. Yeah. I'm just saying that I've seen different tools, maybe not necessarily tied that do this, but pull request, I haven't seen it.
Yeah. And then the other, it does call out, it doesn't support estimates yet for like S3 storage, which makes sense. How would you know? Windows, RHEL, again, because of the extra OS, whatever. Anyway. And RI. So you got to think this is worst case type spend. Right, that's what you would expect or hope to get. So, Infracost link will be down below. We had a couple other links that came in a little bit later today. This first one, we've talked about all the different dashboards and CLIs. This is a single article that talks about the ones that we've talked about, except for one that I'd never heard of before, which was KubeNav. We've talked about K9s, we talked about Octant, Lens, Infra.app, and it's a very good. If you've not looked at any of them, this is a one-pager to where you can go through and say, hey, which one do I want to go try, or do I want to go try all of them? Just please don't do what Infra.app, because we were bashing on Infra.app last week, to where they allowed you to make changes to the YAML in the UI. It's the same thing as we were talking about while you're tailing logs. It's a variation of that. You shouldn't be doing any kind of live applications through these tools. Agree or not agree?
Actually, I could agree,
Okay.
And if those tools would be an interface that would somehow change some definitions in some YAML or whatever and store it in Git, right?
Oh, yeah.
I honestly don't care whether you use UI, whether you use Vim, or whether you use Emacs, whether you use web, or I don't care what you use to change definitions of your systems. I just care whether they're stored in Git before being applied.
Correct. So
that's the important part.
So who of these five, six, none of these guys are doing this today. None of these systems are. So that would be the differentiator, right?
Yes, that would be a big differentiator. That would be, or even better, since I'm freak about Terraform. If I could change something on infrastructure level and you create me through UI and you create Terraform scripts and store it in Git, great. Or same thing for Helm or whatever.
Right.
That would be great. I wouldn't use it. Let's be honest. I wouldn't use it. I like to write my configuration. I'm a YAML programmer. I like to do that, but I can understand the need for that.
But YAML and programmer back to back?
YAML, if you write YAML, you're a programmer because you write code.
Boy, that's a stretch.
Okay, let me define code and you tell me whether you agree or disagree. Code is whatever that can be interpreted by machines.
True.
Do we agree on that?
Yes, we agree at least that much. Yes.
Can YAML be interpreted by machines?
Yes.
Then it's code. If it's code, are you programming? Are you coding?
See, there's the difference.
Now we can speak about you're not as fancy as a Perl programmer who can write everything in 2 lines of code. I understand that. But I mean, logically speaking, it's code you agreed. And when you write code, you're a coder, right?
So, okay. So just because if you're a coder, you're a programmer. If you're a programmer, you may be a coder. So those are together. But just because you write YAML doesn't mean that you're a programmer. You may be a YAML developer because a developer doesn't have to be a programmer.
Yeah, I didn't include programmers in my definition. I don't really know what's the difference, but
you said YAML programmer. That's what you said.
Okay, let me correct. I mean, YAML coder.
Okay, fair enough. Oh, okay.
I'm not saying now the barrier, now the knowledge you need to have to write YAML is not anywhere close to knowledge you need to write Go or Java or Perl or whatever you're using. So there are huge differences in knowledge, right? I mean, I could even argue that there is a huge difference in writing Go and writing HTML, right?
Yeah.
Now, but still, HTML is code interpreted by machines and YAML as well.
Yep. Did Vladislav get it? But see,
yes.
If I separate with tabs and spaces, that means an administrative assistant is a coder because they write Word documents.
No, Word documents separated automatically.
Oh, right. Okay. Thanks, Vladislav. Final one before we get into a couple of the other things. This one showed up like about an hour ago. It was just announced today. The Postgres Prometheus adapter. Everybody loves Prometheus, except for one thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not available.
Mm-hmm.
Not highly available. It's available as long as it's running, but it's not highly available.
Mm-hmm.
So in theory, based on how they're clicking on this, it's like they could make the data highly available because it's being persisted not in Prometheus. This could be interesting.
This would be extremely interesting if we wouldn't know that there is a project Thanos. I just sent you a link in private chat. You can put it on the screen if you want to. This is where I put my faith in having highly available Prometheus that scales and all that stuff.
Okay. this article is 2 years ago. Now, again, these
Yes.
guys are a Postgres vendor, if you will, right? So
Exactly.
if all you have is a hammer, everything's a nail, which is okay, right? I'd rather use a hammer to nail in nails than use the butt end of a screwdriver. You can do it, but it doesn't make sense. So at least Postgres makes sense. But now Prometheus at scale, let me accept the cookies.
I mean, what is important thing about Thanos specifically is not only whether it's a better architecture, actually it is, and all that stuff, is because the amount of people flocking around Thanos is amazing. It has extremely big community and contributions and all that stuff. So kind of, it's not just something that somebody cooked in a basement or something like that. If any of you watched KubeCon and you missed Thanos' presentation, you missed one of the best ones.
Okay. Now, with you saying this, now again, nothing against Crunchy here. This is just interesting. If you can't get to Thanos and you're already running Postgres, this might be a middle step for you.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what we said we probably weren't going to talk about. Let me find my link that I sent you earlier. You ready to talk about this one?
Yes. Are we going to fight?
We'll see. So the reason why I didn't include this is it came in really late. So the Otomi container platform. Here, let me go ahead and accept cookies again too. Now you have to request a demo if you want to see it. That's strike one.
Exactly. I mean, who does that anymore? Kind of like, when was the last time that happened?
Yeah. But let me get down. So blah, 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 blah. Okay, now here's what Otomi contains pre-configured. Right, so go with me here for just a minute.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting all these tools put together, I'm assuming tested in a black box. You got Knative, you've got Ingress, you've got auto-scaling, which you got Harbor, you got Keycloak, Kiali, Grafana, Istio, Loki, right? From this perspective, what's wrong with this? Wouldn't you want a black box like this that has everything already sort of packaged for you? You just spin the thing up.
I'm getting it to one degree or another from cloud providers, managed Kubernetes.
Yeah.
One degree or another, depends really on the provider.
Right.
I can imagine this being useful maybe on-prem. Yes.
Okay.
The part of getting those things.
Right.
Now, to be honest, it's just Helm upgrade. Let's be honest. So it's not a big deal. But okay,
wait. I know that and you know that, but pause before you keep going. The people that are spending that kind of money don't know that.
Yeah, and here's now, here's the thing. Who will pay on top of their regular fees for computing and whatever? Go back to the prices. Is there a sane person who is going to pay this?
Well, you're
$2,500. No, not bucks. Euros.
Yeah.
Close to $3,000 for a Kubernetes cluster running Otomi platform. That's on top of whatever fees you need to pay anyways.
For the cluster. Yeah. And then if you want to, and that's per cluster. So if you have multiple clusters, you're paying this fee for each cluster.
To me, that's insane. Now, if you scroll down, go down, and then I have no kind of, I have email and Slack support. I just gave you more money than a sane person would give you on top of my regular fees. At least you're gonna pick up a phone. The moment I call, you're gonna pick up a phone for that money. And I know I need to go for a more expensive one, premium, and pay even more on top of the ludicrous price. I think it's unrealistic. Now, on top of that, they offer managed clusters, their own kind of Amazon type of cloud something.
Yeah.
Then it makes sense. I understand that's their business. That makes sense, especially since they're in Netherlands, I think, or something like that. and there are, maybe there is no region in AWS, whatever, in their zone. That's all good.
Yeah. But then,
But
but here it's 35 for professional, and we're not going to tell you for enterprise.
Yeah, but I can imagine there is somebody who for one reason or another needs to host in whichever country that is. That I can understand.
Yeah.
But
here's
the previous one.
Yeah, this one makes sense because you're actually getting a body to run your cluster for you. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. That's
You're
reasonable.
Managing my cluster, and I'm willing to pay, because actually when I calculate it, you know what? That's like 3,000 a month. That's like 36,000. Let's round it to 40,000 a year.
Yeah.
That's half of a single person that would need to manage it for me.
Yeah.
Let's go for it.
All day long. Yep. But this one, I like how they have this packaged. Right. This is a very nice. Okay, what kind of things do I need to install into my Kubernetes cluster? This is the list, roughly, right? Today, at least. Pretty reasonable.
No, it's just the perfect choice.
Yeah.
But
paying somebody $2,500 to install that for me per month? No, thank you.
No.
So that's the part. That's the part we agree on. We agree on this. So actually, we didn't really fight. Dang. I was hoping for a little bit of something there, but. Oh, this is going back to VS Code for just a second. This is a pretty good one. I thought code is whatever you write in VS Code, even if it's in the name. It's even in the name. See, I could almost agree with you on that. And see, this is where Victor's going to argue with me again. My wife uses VS Code to write Markdown for her books. Now, this is going to be the same. But see, Markdown isn't a programming language. It's just
bold is double asterisk.
Yes.
How is that different from?
Just move on. Just move on. Just move on. Oh my gosh. Okay. Anyway, that's Otomi. I don't know what you're trying to do. It may be fine. It may be completely fine. This one I don't care so much. The managed Kubernetes, that's very reasonable. I do like that.
Here is the thing that annoyed me the most, and that's being pretentious. Can you get the title from the tab?
Can I get?
I think you can hover. Can you hover over the tab to get the title? No, the title of the page. Does it show?
No, but I'll get it. Hang on a second. Here, let me stop sharing. Here, just talk. I'll get it in a second.
I don't know what to talk about.
No, I'm still here. You just keep talking. Okay, so it's the. Oh yeah, here it is. I'll show the source.
Yeah.
Give me a second. Sorry.
Show it.
There it is. Here, let me bump it. One. Oh, doggone it! I did it again. Wrong screen. Hang on. 1, 2. That's the OG title, so we'll stick with that. Where's the real title? This is one of the things about getting a little bit older that sometimes it's hard to find things. Okay, there it is. Let me bump that up really big for you because I have a feeling you're wanting to make a point.
No, I lost the point because there was something else.
The title. Well, no, you were saying
it was the best Kubernetes from the provider of the best Kubernetes platform, something like that.
Yeah.
Kind of like, come on, we know you're not that. Nice try. Number 1 container platform. I mean, that's like kind of like how kids write in high school.
Are you telling me...
We are the number 1. We are the number 1.
Are you telling me that this is better than OpenShift?
Of course it is better than OpenShift. Because everything is better than OpenShift.
Oh,
but doesn't make it best. I'm kidding. I mean, it's a bit pretentious for my taste.
Yeah. It may be a fine product, but just looking at it is like, Let's say I would have to be really sold on it. I'm not looking for a sale, by the way. I'm just saying. I don't see anything there. Now that you gave me what your secret sauce is, you gave me all the things you install. Helm install. Helm install.
And by the way, that's a list you would get from going to CNCF.
Right. Yeah, but then I have to dig through the other 978 items that are there. At least that's a clean list.
Filter it by graduated or something like that. And yes, you need to filter. Yes, I understand. It's not, but still, it would take you less to filter than to stumble upon them.
Yeah. Yeah. The reason why I came over here when I did was we were talking about Thanos, and I was just trying to. I thought I saw Thanos here earlier, but I didn't. So I guess I was just getting confused. That's not surprising, is it? Okay. Let's talk about your fun time with AWS.
It's still ongoing.
Do you want to not talk about it now and just wait until it's done?
No, I can talk. I mean, so basically the short version of the story, I'm out of my home with family. I get email from AWS. Somebody might have hacked into your account. We blocked it. Okay. I'm not in a rush to go home because, it's family time. I have alert to tell me whether I spent more than 200 euros, which is ridiculously low figure, but it's my private personal account, right? So it's not a corporate account. It's not a company account. I don't reach, when I reach 200, it's too much. I'm not getting alert, so why would I hurry home, right? I reach home an hour later, check my billing statement, $10,000. Can I say asshole? Some asshole.
You just did. Yeah, that's fine.
Exactly. Enter into my account, whichever means, I don't know how and started running the XXXXXXL, whatever is the biggest machine possible, in every single region supported by AWS. Every single one. I think I had like 15 of the biggest machines, or 10 to 15 in every single region. And to make my life miserable, he changed it so that you cannot, I did not even know about that option until the other day, that you cannot delete it directly.
Right, you
need to change to enable the deletion.
Enable termination, yeah.
Enable termination. So I had to go from one by one. And because, of course, AWS doesn't allow you to disable termination on all of them at once in a region. So one by one, delete. An hour later, I finished all that, 12,000 euros. Now, of course, AWS blocked my account so that neither him nor me can continue doing stuff.
Right.
Didn't really bother to do that work while I was out, which I think that we disagree on that one, but I think that if they know that there is something strange happening, they should have acted, not only blocked me from accessing it. And I'm still yelling at them a week later to adjust the billing. I can tell you, I'm not going to pay 12,000 euros. I would rather not use AWS on my private account ever again than pay 12,000. That's like, for those of you in US, that's like $14,000-$15,000.
Right. And you're still not sure exactly how it happened. It had to have been probably a key leak. That's the only thing I can think. But you haven't committed any keys anywhere, right?
No. I didn't have keys, and he did. I saw that he did create keys.
We did.
Yeah. So he created keys, and
so he got in through the account somehow or another, created keys. So then
maybe he got somehow my root password to enter console.
Yeah.
Because whenever I create keys and stuff like that, I do it for a very short period of time. Like I'm working on, let's say, this chapter.
Yeah.
I always have instructions how to create everything from scratch, including keys, and how to destroy everything at the end.
Right.
So it's not that.
Yeah.
Must have been my root password.
Do what Jay is saying to do here. You need to tweet Quinnypig. I forgot about that. I knew there was somebody. I just can't remember who it was.
Who is Quinnypig?
Okay, here. So, Jay, Vladisław, post over in the Slack channel what Victor needs to do. By the way, if you're not in the Slack channel, you can go join the Slack workspace. So you can direct message everybody that's on here today, because all the names I've seen, we're all in there. So,
and to make it worse, this is my last week in the current company, and that billing goes to company account. They're gonna think that I'm trying to destroy the company before I leave. Imagine, that's such a coincidence that nobody would believe that you suddenly jump from a couple of bucks to $15,000 on your last day.
Bitcoin, baby.
I would never believe that. I would not believe it.
No. So yeah, Quinnypig. That's who you need to sort of get in the loop. There was another, and whoever's going to post that over in the Slack channel. There was a recent big bill too from somebody else. I saw it last month, month before last. Almost the same thing. So please help a brother out, because we don't want anybody to pay for that. That's just silly.
No, and it's not physical goods. It's not that I just on my door arrived 100,000 books from Amazon, which were physically printed, and it's not really a cost for Amazon either.
Right. Oh, Vlasa, you're already following him, Victor.
That would assume
but you
that
follow so many people, that you're looking at Twitter. I know. Oh, by the way, since we're talking about Twitter for a second, I don't know how everybody finds out about this. I mean, if you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, you probably get a notification. We're starting to do a little bit more social stuff. It's only on Twitter and LinkedIn. I stay off all the Facebook platforms. And we're doing one post a day. It's usually Monday and Tuesday will be a clip from today's show. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday are clips from that week's podcast episode. Just comment over in the podcast channel, over in Slack. Tell us what you think about those. Is it too much? I mean, I'm trying to keep it to one a day, so I feel like that's not too much. We do send out 2 emails a week. I send out an email on Monday reminding people about the replay of this show, and then we send out an email on Wednesday. So I'm trying to keep things minimal, 1 to 2 a day tops. If that's too much, let us know. Because I'm just trying to test. I'm trying to get a little bit more eyes on us, and I'm trying to see what algorithms trip inside of both LinkedIn and Twitter. So if you don't like it, that's fine. Just put up with it for at least another 2 weeks, and by that time I will have 4 weeks in. Okay, enough about the business stuff. So we talked about a lot of things today. A lot.
Yeah.
More than we had planned. Anybody have any questions? Thanks for all the engagement that's been going on today. 19 coming out is good. I could care less about 19. I care more about the LTS being an extra cycle. That's just...
But it's not going to make a difference, really.
No, it won't, because people will still ignore it.
Exactly. It's not that kind of 3 quarters was too short and 4 quarters to upgrade is going to be just enough.
Yeah,
no,
it's not. Kubernetes team, if you're listening to this, the right number, unfortunately, is going to be 24 months. And even that may be a stretch.
No, so this is the right number. I think that
it is the right number.
Kubernetes community should foster things doing the right way, right?
Yes.
Whomever, it's just not going to help many companies because simply they cannot upgrade things once a year.
Right. They just can't. Oh, you know what? I am going to bring something else up. It'll take me a second to pull it up, though. You like Cloud Run, right? You're pretty much in love.
Think Cloud Run is one of the most awesome things happening right now.
Who do you love more, Cloud Run or your daughter?
I would go with daughter.
Okay, good. All right. Well, at least that priority is still good. Give me just a second. So anyway, I was looking. So Google's been having their sort of conference, but not really conference, this week.
Google Next.
Google Next. Thank you. I couldn't remember the name of it. And their head of product posted, basically they have a video that came out yesterday. I think I sent that to you yesterday. That is talking about the things that are coming. And what was it? So currently one of the things is now Cloud Run. This was last week. You can do up to 4 CPUs and 4 gig for a service, which is good, right? It gives you some breathing room. But some of the other bullets were complete locality. Now, what was the phrasing? I got to pull it back up. Hang on a second. I've got to find it. Because the guy that maintains Kubernetes and kubectx also works for Google now. I have a hard time saying Google. I don't know why. I can't remember the guy's name. I'm drawing a blank. Okay, this is me not being prepared. But anyway, there was basically, it was going to be the point to where you deploy your service to whatever regions that you want. And then Google will route the person to the nearest service. So let's say I've deployed my service to both. This was the example in the video, and I'll get the link for the video. It'll be down in the show notes. I deploy a service to US and to France. And if somebody's in the US, they get routed to the US one. And if somebody is in France, they get routed to the France one. You're just deploying the service into two regions. That is, holy cow. You're muted. You're muted.
All right. Since it is serverless, right? You pay basically for the duration and your application is receiving requests, more or less.
Yep.
Basically, you can by default deploy to all the regions. Hey, I have no customers in Australia, but if somebody appears, why not? Kind of like, it's not. And I like always technology that actually allows you to make choices without being constrained by money. Right? That's like my big. I always complain about enterprise software that charges per CPU, right? And then there is incentive to not scale up. Right. I'm first example that comes to my mind. Right. So this is awesome, right? In all the regions, everywhere.
Exactly. And the other one that the other thing we're talking about cold starts, or at least functions, but now right now there has been a max number of instances. So you could cap it so you didn't spend too much money. But if there was no traffic, it would scale to 0. But now they're going to be adding in, it hasn't released yet, but they're adding in minimum instances. So if you've got this service that you don't ever want to take a cold start on, set them into 1.
So they're really advertising it in a way, or maybe that's my interpretation, or it started as a serverless containers as a service, right? But what Google is really doing is that they're building just the right abstraction layer on top of Kubernetes to save you from all the unnecessary complexity. Right? I see it. To me, this is the first serious attempt to bring that badly needed layer that allows people who don't have 17 years of experience in Kubernetes to use it.
No, I've only got 16.
Then you need more experience.
But the reason why it's working, and the reason why it could work anywhere, is that they're doing it on top of Knative.
Exactly.
That is the secret sauce, because let's say that, okay, I don't want to put all of my coins in Google, but I also want to run it in AWS. I'd have to manage the cluster myself. Okay, that's not a huge deal. But then I could install Knative. Then it's just Knative.
To me, that's kind of almost the right balance between open source and proprietary. That you're not really trying to make everything proprietary so that you lock people in. Yeah. Google is locking people in. Just let's clarify. Everybody's locking in one way or another, but they're locking you in through additional values
Right.
not through reinventing their own stuff, right? That's like I think in one of the previous episodes, while I was not so happy about AWS mesh, whatever is up mesh, right?
Yeah.
I don't see the additional value in it.
Yeah.
So why that? Why not Linkerd, right?
Yeah, and I think one, it wasn't on the list that I saw, but it was in the video, was also you could basically run Cloud Run on your machine. Think it's sort of like Docker Compose. You just, because I haven't tried it yet, but it sounds like it's effectively just running Knative locally.
Yeah, so you can definitely run Knative locally. Now, I'm skeptical how many people are gonna use Cloud Run outside of Google. But what really matters is that they're just making sure that your Knative runs. That's what they're doing, and that is awesome.
Even in the shape that Knative is currently in, it's still awesome. Because Knative, how do you rate Knative on production worthy today, for real?
Say again?
How would you rate Knative from a production readiness standpoint?
It's it's closest to be production ready as anything serverless can be, I think. Okay. If you're talking about self-hosted. Right. I don't think that there is anything closer to being production ready. Now, I don't like answering directly this is production ready because it needs to be used by some big guys in production for quite a few years to be kind of 100% confident. We don't know what will happen. Right. But if it's closest to production, if it's not production, I cannot answer directly. But Google is behind it, VMware is behind it, IBM is behind it, everybody's behind it. It's kind of almost next Kubernetes. Fraction of Kubernetes, of course.
Yeah. Because then you don't have to worry about Kubernetes, at least because Knative is starting to make it to where now, theoretically, the application developers, the real application developers, it's just as simple as, hey, here's my app, go run it. It's that simple.
Knative and Flagger are two of my favorites right now in Kubernetes, and both do a very different job, but they're both similar in way that they abstract from you unnecessary YAML code. They kind of, if you look at those definitions, that's like kind of 20 lines of YAML, 30 depending on what you're doing.
Right.
But there is not a single line in Knative that I could safely say, this makes no sense. Remove this. Why do we need this? This is internal Kubernetes stuff. This is unnecessary for me as a user. Now, if I go to Kubernetes itself definitions, deployment and ingress and this and service and I don't know what, kind of 95% is not really necessary for a user.
Right. But now I think somebody could, an application developer could easily define a Knative file.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like Docker Compose for Kubernetes. Yeah. I think that this is closest to what we had with Docker Compose, but for Kubernetes.
Right.
Much more powerful, but from definition perspective.
Yep. So I'm just sort of waiting for all those features to release. I'm really waiting on that global one. I'm wanting to test that. I want to see how that works. So I want to have a distributed load test that's running globally, and to see what kind of crazy throughput you can put on it. That's just. And the other picture that they showed too was putting a CDN in front of Cloud Run, so that way you don't even have to make it back to Cloud Run. If this, put a cache header on it, and you're good. Just typical caching, but it gives you a lot more power.
And this is also the closest I've seen so far as a serverless that would be usable for third-party vendors, right?
Oh yeah.
Before, function as a service, I was never convinced that companies should start building their, CI/CD tools or monitoring tools or this and that based on that. To me, that was too flawed. But Knative, not necessarily Cloud Run, right? Knative, I can imagine now, if I would have guts, and good ideas, which I don't, I would form a startup right now to use that as a base of third-party serverless, highly distributed in all the regions software. I just don't have ideas what would be good software to write. That's why I'm not doing it, but I would.
And with that, why don't we call it a day?
Yeah.
And a week.
And a week.
And a week. Get to go to the store, get some groceries. Looking forward to it. Tomorrow's pizza day, I think.
Pizza day.
Pizza or nachos. I don't know which we're going to have tomorrow. Doesn't really matter. Thanks to everyone that hang out with us live today. If you're watching on the replay, again, please, if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, go right underneath Victor. Click on that subscribe button right down there. Yep. Click that bell. And if you haven't, we haven't talked about this. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast, you can go to devopsparadox.com, subscribe there. Join the Slack. We talked about that. The catalog course is still progressing. You are on which right now?
Logging.
We're on logging. So logging preempted security. And
exactly.
we have an episode about that coming out on, I think it's 2 weeks from now or 3 weeks from now. I haven't edited it yet, so I don't remember the date. I think it's 3 weeks from now. That talks about why we took this turn and why we think it's important. So,
can I give you a hint?
Please do.
Blame Russians.
Blame the Russians. Wait, I'm an American. I can't say that because I'll get in trouble.
Right. Freedom of speech.
Yes, it is. Okay. Except we don't own this platform that we're on right now, so it will decide whether it's free or not. I think that's it, right? I think that's good enough. Everybody have a great weekend. We should be back next Friday. Right, Victor?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Is there anything better to do on Friday?
Yes, there is. But we're here anyway.
Fake it.
Okay, everybody. Have a great weekend. We will talk to you next week. And don't forget about the podcast coming out on Wednesday, which I don't have what that is in front of me. So go listen to this past week's if you haven't listened to it yet. That's what matters. You need to understand high availability. That will make your life much, much better. Jay, thank you very much. Everybody else have a great weekend. We will talk to you next week.